Angels, this is the weekly reading. We are starting with the dice and dirty movie, which often has to do with stuff going viral nationwide or local to your city, or maybe you get lucky and something that you put out there that you created goes viral perhaps, or it can be about exchanging like pictures with another maybe special someone, sending pictures, sending videos with a friend, a romantic interest, exchanging, or it could be about online dating and things like that, movie. And then we got your choice. And I like how the your choice is like touching the 29, which is about spiritual partnership. And I think that at least for some, this is going to be about, when I said there's more than one potential love interest, and maybe specifically more than one potential divine masculine or masculine in your life or entering your life. And then it'll be your choice, what type of partnership or which partnerships you're interested in developing. But 29 is about spiritual partnership. And then we have try again. So maybe it's something from the past and you're rekindling a relationship from the past. So let's see. We got eat cake, happy birthday, congratulations, whatever it is, for all the celebrations out there that for which people are eating cake, or if you just enjoy cake, like I do, yeah, eat cake. And we also have my choice. So before we had your choice. And I was looking at it like it's your choice, as in yours, not mine, But this, my choice, would mean it's your choice. Would mean it's your choice. And your choice would mean it's another person's choice. Well, now we got my choice. Also, romantic dinner. Maybe you're picking the place where you're having dinner. Maybe it's Mother's Day and it's the mom that's picking. Maybe that's what the cake is about too. We also got email. With the cards, we are starting with cycles, momentum, force, life cycles. Stay grounded in the now. And then speaking of not only life cycles, but relationships potentially from the past and trying again, the Six of Cups. So this is not only necessarily about a relationship from the past. This can be about just about anything from the past that maybe is being brought into your present, and possibly because you asked it to. You manifested it. You made an intention on it happening. This could also be some money or something material that is due to you and or your family. And it's been taking a long time coming in. It's from the past. Maybe this is an inheritance from somebody. Maybe somebody passed away, but they didn't pass away recently. They passed away before, but now is when the inheritance is finally coming through, the insurance or something like that. And maybe this is something that you wish for, not, of course, not wishing that anything would happen to anybody, but like wishing that this situation would get resolved and straightened out and you could collect your inheritance, whatever it is that is due to you. And it is possible, it could really be from anybody, but the Six of Cups is often about children. So it may be like something specifically that a parent left you, and then looking at the card, maybe even more specifically, a grandparent or father left you. Just really focused on how like his back is to us. So it's like he's gone away. The father. All right, anyway, I don't think people inherit anything from their pets, but there's also 2 dogs in this picture. And these are the cards that were immediately behind our Six of Cups. 9 of Cups is a card of wish fulfillment. The energy's not as strong when the card is in reverse, but it's still something coming through, so for example, maybe you hit the lottery, but you only win $100, not $100 million, so something came through, you got lucky, and maybe it's something that you manifest that you asked for, but it's not as, large or huge a miracle as it potentially could have been. And with the animal and angel tarots, we're starting with the Two of Wands. Your vision, creativity, and dedication to your cause have brought you great success. In fact, it may be in your best interest to get a partner to assist you in your endeavors, or to expand the number of people who are helping you. Two of Wands, a soulmate card in the tarot, as is the Six of Cups, but I didn't really stress that, but it is too. And the Two of Wands is actually the twin flame card of the tarot, and it's sitting in front of the Ten of Swords. So there could have been some sort of difficulty. Ten of Swords in reverse, especially because I'm thinking about it now in terms of love, and in connection to the dice, possibly, potentially, can be about second chances, so, and maybe something from the past, something that hasn't been going on, hasn't been happening in a while, is now happening. So for those who are single, and maybe in connection, still contact, or have the potential to be contacted by, or to contact themselves, an ex or something, it could be about that, so somebody coming back into your life, and maybe you trying again in a new way, and maybe because it is your soulmate, it is your twin flame. Or for an existing couple, maybe you're going to try something again, some sort of lifestyle or practice. Maybe it didn't go right the first time. Maybe the first time you tried, it wasn't good. Maybe you tried to live on your own. I don't know, when somebody tried to live on their own, maybe a couple, and something happened, and like the couple had to move in with one of the people's families, and that could be tied to this too. I hope we can get out of this situation with the family. And maybe that's why the back is turned. It's like walking away, moving out finally. We have our own money. I don't know where that came from, but it just came from somewhere. Anywho, the next card I'll just mention is the Wheel of Fortune, which represents the planet Jupiter, and the sign of Sagittarius, which it rules. Also, this card also connected to the fixed signs of the zodiac. So Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius. Expect a sudden positive change in your life. You can now move forward and make great progress. This too was in reverse, so again, not as strong, as huge a miracle as it could have been, but something comes through and things get better for you. There's improvement in your life. Now I'm going to talk about why I shuffle. I'm going to talk to you for a minute. So first of all, I'm just open to fertility. So fresh ideas, manifesting. Maybe that's part of the second time around. Again, we're going to try this in a better way this time, so we can get it right. Could be a relationship that you tried before, it didn't meet its potential, but now maybe it can. Fresh ideas manifest, growth, plant your seeds. And it's opposite the life cycles. So a lot happening, a lot going on this week, and a lot of really interesting energy. I feel lately like the universe is talking to me all the time. I don't know if you guys are feeling this too, like all the time in so many different ways. And I got to get my vibration back up. Not that it's low, but it's just not. Someone is not coming out of separation. You probably should let this person go. No contact, 5D, dreams, nightmares. Yikes. Focus on your own happiness. Yeah. At least right now, the answer to your question is no. So maybe when I was talking about an ex returning, you were thinking about particular person. Separation is not them. What was I saying? Oh, so not that it's low, but it's just not how it once was. That person is not your soulmate. So what I was just talking about was a soulmate connection or a twin flame connection. And some of you thought about somebody with whom you are in separation, and it is not them. Soulmate is compatibility, companionship, and your best life partner, according to this deck. And again, the answer to your question is no. not, maybe you have more than one person, and maybe you have more than one person with whom you're in separation. Because again, I've been feeling that too. Multiple energies coming forward. So anyway, when years ago, when Isis appeared to me, and she was telling me about herself and explaining to me, you know, who she was, what she was, and who I was, what I was, and all that kind of stuff. And she told me at that time that her vibration fluctuated between 11 and 16D. And I'm like, okay. I heard her, and I comprehended it, or at least so I thought. I don't think now, like in hindsight, in retrospect, I didn't fully comprehend it. Like what it means for, because 11D is super high. I mean, none of us will make it, not alive, to 11D. So, you know, I guess I just thought that was still so wonderful. But for her, it probably wasn't, because she still wasn't at her highest potential. She wasn't in her best possible, you know, timeline or vibration whenever she would fluctuate down to that 11D. So she didn't have full capacity of all her abilities and powers. And now I get that. Now I understand that, because, you know, I don't either. So even if I remain, I continue to have, you know, a lot of powers and abilities that are stronger than anybody else I know, it's not as strong as I know mine to be, you know. So I would normally have an easier time understanding certain messages and stuff than I am right now. So for example, one weird thing, overall energy in this deck now is transformation, breakthrough, reinvention. You're ready for the next level. So again, this might be tied to what we were just talking about, trying again, trying in a new way, a new lifestyle, a new practice, a new way of going about it, or just flat out getting back together with somebody if you're, you know, if you're not already together. Or if it doesn't have anything to do with relationships at all, then we all understand what it means to transform and to grow and to move into the next phase of our life and to reinvent ourselves, maybe with regard to career, you know, character, whatever. Page of Wands in reverse just fell away. The Page of Wands in reverse. Page of Wands upright sometimes too. Either one can sometimes be about, especially in reverse, like finishing something you started a long time ago. So again, something from the past. So this too may be tied to the cards we saw, the Six of Cups, you know, the Nine of Cups in reverse, the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Something we started a long time ago for whatever reason was not completed, and we've been hoping that we get a chance to finish it, resolve it, because it is something that's going to be help us to be more abundant in some kind of way, more fulfilled, more complete, like a closing a chapter. We put work into it, and then we didn't get to see the results, the outcome, because something stopped it, something paused it, something stifled it. What was I going to tell you about? Oh, so for example, yesterday, this is just one of the crazy things. Yesterday, I had this dream, Eight of Wands. My ex was in the dream, a bunch of his friends. I had a bunch of female friends that I don't know who they are in this life. You know, maybe I know them in some other timeline or something. But there were a lot of like clear faces that I could see. These girlfriends that I had, these people that were at my house that I have no idea who these people are. The Star, another card of wish fulfillment, prayers being answered, wishes being granted, dreams coming true, healing, restoration, recovery, fulfillment, online dating, communication online. So, I mean, it was, I think I may have dreamed of him and of people, of different things, like more than once. Like I woke up, went back to sleep. But this one particular time, part of the dream, all his friends, the girlfriends were already in my house. They were already there. Some were changing. So some were like half dressed.
And his friends came in, all these guys came in. So I'm like running to the girls, like, careful, like, you know, if you're not dressed, like, go back inside and get dressed. And then I noticed that my ex wasn't there. And I'm like, where is he? And nobody knew. So I was like, he must still be outside, like in the hallway. He was just with us. So I go back out and he's in the hallway. He's sitting on the floor, like in front of my door. And he's going on about something. I'm like, okay, but can we talk about it inside? Can we talk about it in the house? And, you know, he's like, keeps mumbling. I'm like, all right, like, I get it, babe, but can we talk about it inside? And he starts to get up, and I could see like that people had like written on the wall in black marker or something, like, not really like graffiti. It was just like writing on the wall and like a lot of doodles and stuff. But I don't remember what all the words were, but I remembered this one word that stood out in the middle, Ogden. And so when I woke up, and this is not like me, it's not, and it wasn't even right away when I woke up. It was probably like an hour later. Let me just show you the Knight of Cups so I can finish cutting these and stuff. Knight of Cups is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, or someone like into those traits or attributes. I don't even know why I opened the cards again, because I already cut them and stuff. Yeah, that was weird. I'll just cut them again. Maybe I was supposed to. So like an hour later, I check, like, what is Ogden? So I Google it, and first Ogden, Utah comes up, and it's described as the gateway to ski slopes, and I'm getting chills in my, look, do you see the hair standing up in my arm? Can you guys see it on the, I don't know if you could see it on the camera. Was described as the gateway to not only these ski slopes and stuff, but this like amusement park and paleontology laboratory. And the amusement park also is about paleontology too. It's full of dinosaurs or something. Yeah, like huge dinosaurs, and it's meant to teach people about dinosaurs, apparently. Our overall energy is the Three of Cups in reverse. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. And there were a few other meanings. There was an Ogden in Vegas also. And there was an article that popped up about some condominium building in Vegas that was called the Ogden that's full, and so they recommended like these two other buildings for you to try to move into. And then I think there was in Iowa. Anyway, there's a bunch of these Ogdens that I was reading about. The most interesting one, or the one that caught my eye the most, was the Gateway, right? This place in Utah. But then, moving on with my life, I'm doing other stuff. My phone, I'm in the kitchen. I come back. I've missed 2 calls from this number, 2 phone calls and 1 FaceTime call. But it's a number I'm not familiar with. I don't know who this person is. So I went to look up the number, and nothing popped up. You know how sometimes you type in the number and it can tell you, you know, who the person is, or company is, and if it's a scam company, you know, or whatever. None of that popped up. Instead, this been verified thing popped up and asked me if I wanted to get a what they call it, like a trial membership for $1. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll do that, and I'll look up this person. Hermit. So Hermit 2, specific to love, whether upright or in reverse, tends to be about rekindling a relationship from the past. Of course, that's not the only meaning of the Hermit. Hermit is also about introspection. So like sitting with yourself, you know, and figuring something out. And often that thing that you're figuring out is you. Like you're going within to really, you know, be honest with yourself about who you are and what your desires are and all these things. Sometimes the Hermit for me is a lawyer or a professor teaching somebody else. But, you know, sometimes we are the professor, and what we're teaching and learning about simultaneously is ourself. Major Arcana card 9, the Hermit, represents the sign of Virgo most directly. Spend time in quiet meditation, spiritual teaching, self-discovery. The Ace of Swords is about the beginning of something. So when I started talking about maybe a relationship being rekindled, it was the Ten of Swords that I was talking about. This is the next card, the Ace of Swords. So it definitely could be carrying on from, again, that relationship or that thing that started in your life way back, that maybe you're going to give another try in a different way now. Brilliant new ideas. So like a new idea about that thing, reinventing yourself or reinventing the thing. Brilliant new ideas and inspirations, seeing the truth of a situation, maybe a challenging beginning, like you could get off on a, you could still be sort of like a rocky start, maybe awkward start. Like, where do we begin with this? But this is a card of victory. This is a card of honesty, truth. So really just putting things, letting the chips fall, the cards fall where they may, and just being real about a situation. And that's going to bring you happiness. The Page of Swords is also about communication, truth, honesty, even if it's blunt and hurts feelings sometimes, just laying things out on the line. The Page of Swords rather, is logical, truthful, curious, and undiplomatic, and is possibly a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. This is an intellectual challenge that calls upon your ability to think of a matching solution. If helpful information is put to you bluntly, accept the message without being bothered by the messenger. And then again, the outcome is something very, very positive. The Ten of Cups, it's time to express your love and appreciation. Maybe that's the thing you're being blunt and honest about. Maybe after some introspection, it's like, I got to let this person know how I feel about them. Whether it's a family member, a friend, or again, a romantic interest or romantic partner, or an ex. It's time to express your love and appreciation for family, be it relatives or chosen family of close friends. Congratulations may be in order on a happy, fulfilling marriage, as well as raising happy and balanced children. And this can be after, breaking away from something that was holding you, back, or someone that was holding you back. Major Arcana card 15, which equals 6. I'm mentioning that because I'm going to be talking about some 15s and 6s as I go along too. This is the Devil, represents the sign of Capricorn most directly. So, fast forward. This phone call, and I'm like, let me find out who this person is. So I buy the Been Verified subscription, and before showing me about the person, it's like showing me information about me that has on there, and a lot of stuff that's just wrong and just whatever. And I'm like, okay, this is shit. I'll be canceling this subscription. But one of the things that came up was these people that they believed were related to me, and they lived on Ogden Avenue. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then tonight, 8 o'clock, normally I would watch, or at least over the past few weeks, I had started watching this Ready to Love show, like a black reality game show of love. I think on OWN. I think it's the OWN channel. I'm going to lay the cards, and then I'll talk about the placements later. I'll just keep talking to you for now. So normally I would have been watching that, but something said watch Shark Tank, because when I clicked on the guide, I saw that Shark Tank was new, and I put on Shark Tank, and one of the things that they started talking about was some kind of amusement park. I don't think it was the same one in Utah, but it was an amusement park of dinosaurs. So I think there's a message for me. I think there's a message for the collective. I don't know if it has to do with dinosaurs. I don't know why people have paleontology labs and dinosaur parks. If they're working on something genetics-wise that we need to know, I don't know. But that's one of the things. Then, one of the other things I want to talk to you all about is, I don't know what reading it was, but it was like within the past 2 weeks, I said that there could be a shift in power. Nationally or globally, or another one of these countries, there could be a shift in power, and that it didn't necessarily have anything to do with the war. That I wasn't really feeling that it was because of the war, but I felt like some power was going to change hands. And sure enough, they're saying Putin has cancer and that he has given over power to, some under person. So that happened. There's something else that I had told y'all to be on the lookout for. Oh, I said like financial crisis and banks. And this I've been talking about even longer because I saw that coming along with the February transit. Like once Pluto had its rotation, I was like, okay, return. I was like, something's going to go on with it's going to be like a financial crisis or something. I saw a video, I shared it on my Facebook, I think it was. I believe it was St. Lucia, is one of the islands where there was like a line of people going around like the block, no money in the ATM. Nobody could get their money out of the bank. They weren't even sure if the bank had money. So all this stuff I'm sharing with you is kind of disjointed, and I realize that, but I'm putting it out there because, like I said, I feel some of it has to do with me, just me, and it's possible somebody can help me with that, but some of it definitely is for the collective, and you might be able to help me with that, or help us with that. We can figure it out together because I'm not getting a clear enough message. And I'm sure I would be if my vibration was what it once was. So I need to restore it. That's another thing. Maybe that's part of the message. Maybe I'm not the only one. Maybe people in general need to work on increasing their vibrations for now, for getting ready for something, Anyway, the card that will most directly represent us this week is the Four of Cups. In the placement of the surrounding energy, close friends, family members, co-workers, we have Major Arcana card 15 again, the Devil. As I mentioned, represents the sign of Capricorn. In work and finance, we have the Queen of Swords. Love and relationship, the Eight of Wands. Movement. Physical health, the Seven of Wands. And spiritual health, the Five of Wands. And as I mentioned before, the Three of Cups in reverse as the overall energy. And I don't think I mentioned before that there's an Ace of Swords here as well. So there was an Ace of Swords in the cards we just looked at behind, the Ten of Cups. And there's an Ace of Swords here. Another thing I said a couple weeks ago, and I think I said more than once in more than one video, was that people's karma was really going to start becoming a reality, and things that they wished upon other people was going to be reversed and hit them and come back at them. And I said in some cases it could even include things like death. And I was like, I remember saying I don't wish death on anybody, but that's what I'm saying. Like some people may have wished death on you, and they'll be the ones that get it, or it'll affect them. If it's not them, somebody in their family, something like that. That kind of thing that I was feeling. And we had that happen yesterday also. This YouTuber that had been going on and on about women, very anti-women, especially black women, particularly black women. That, if you weren't married by the time you were 35, you were going to die alone. Well, he died alone. They said he died with somebody who, after calling 911, left, and he was found alone and dead. So that was like, I'm like, wow, all these things happen, just happening all so fast. Like, just so many things that we've been talking about. I'm seeing it play out in real life, like on TV and stuff, all at once. Anyway, let's get to the Three of Cups in reverse. So that's our overall energy, and it's a positive card, even though it's in reverse. Please don't get scared about it. Still very upbeat and good. It's about, or can be about at least, like building. increasing your sort of sense of community or family, and just like building upon it, growing it, enhancing it in some way. Definitely not a time to, go it alone, as they say when this card shows up. And you really should be surrounding yourself with people who can help you. It's also about experiencing at least one. You should be able to like look forward to at least one pleasant reunion with someone or something that you've been apart from for some time. So the cards that we saw in the beginning about the past and something coming back now could be about a thing too. Just thinking about the ten of Pentacles with it, it may be a material thing, that you had misplaced or you thought was lost or stolen or misplaced that is returned to you now, something like that. And even if it's with a person. So even if it's with an ex, this again is a positive reunion. This is not an ex that you never want to see again, that you hate. Even if you may have felt like that at one point, but in your heart and reality, this is a positive reunion for you and something that makes you feel good. There's a sense of feeling, supported by friends and family. And it's important to make it a point to stay in touch with people right now, to the extent that you're able to do so. Maybe if you're not talking to your mom or whatever, I'm just saying, like the Queen of Swords, she can often be, give off a real mother or mother-in-law vibe. Maybe you want to give your mom a call for Mother's Day. I don't want to get in nobody's business, but it's that kind of energy. Just, surrounding yourself. And the card that most directly represents us is the next card up. It's the Four of Cups. And this card can really be about, being sure that we're counting our blessings and we're appreciative of the things and the people that we have in our lives, and we don't take these things or people for granted, which can be easy to do sometimes. Sometimes we have to learn the hard way. We have to be jolted by some sort of trauma to realize, oh my God, like I could have lost this person, I could have lost this thing. Life is short. What am I doing? I have to, it's time for me to acknowledge how I feel about this person. Let them know, because you got to do it while you can. All those kinds of things. And so this Four of Cups could be showing up here, so that we do that now, that we don't miss out on the opportunities to really pay attention to what is now, what is here, the many blessings that we each are currently experiencing, and not worrying too much about like what could be or how things once were or what might happen, but really dealing in the present, because it's just all too easy to like overlook what we already have or could have in the present moment in pursuit of what we don't have, or worrying about what we don't have. You know what I mean? So this card shows up to really have us put our focus on the things and people in our lives that we have to be thankful for. And we may want to consider, like journaling in connection with this. Some people, once you get all into the spiritual stuff, like to do what they call a gratitude journal and writing down the things that they're thankful for every day. My sister does that, my oldest sister. I've never done it, but she does that. And I know it's a thing, it's a thing in like the spiritual community. Anywho, moving on to the surrounding energy and the Devil, Major Arcana card 15. So, it can be a very frightening looking card for some people, similar to death. But it's not a frightening card, because it really, more so than reality, is about feelings, right? Feeling stuck, not really being stuck. Maybe being addicted, but that's something that we can make a choice about too. And I'm not saying it's an easy choice, but being addicted or not, or using substances or not, or overeating or not, or undereating or not, or whatever, all these things are within our control. Like, we do have a free will choice that we can make about them. So, the Devil, it can be a card of bondage, and depending upon the type of reading, that may be a good thing, or the type of person, or who the reading is for, maybe you're into that. Um, but it's more so, or more often, it's bondage in a metaphoric sense, in terms of, again, just feeling stuck. And we're really called to look beyond, um, the way the card looks, and go to the deeper meaning, and the way our situations look too, and to go to the deeper meaning, of the card and of those situations, of our experiences, and asked to remember that, like, when we're feeling stuck or restrained or whatever, um, we almost always, I'm been trying to think as I've been talking to you about a situation where we don't, um, but I don't want to say we always do. I'll say we almost always, hold the keys again to our own freedom. So we don't want to give up, hope, or give up that, power, you know, to anyone or anything else. It's like really important to remember that we always have some sort of options to choose from. I remember somebody in jail. I wish I could remember what he said to me, because he, even in jail, he was talking about how, you know, I guess the result. I guess he was there as a result of his own free will choices, right? It was a consequence. And even, while he was in there, he was saying, like, the prison couldn't really restrain him because, like his mind was free. You know what I mean? I don't know. I wish I could remember the words he used, because it was really a beautiful sentiment. And I could really picture exactly what he was saying. But anyway, it's just crucial to remember that we can free ourselves from whatever restrictions are holding us back at any time that we choose to do so. And sometimes, yes, it may be easier said than done, but particularly when we are enlisting things like, the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, just the universal laws in general, karma, is when we can, manifest our reality. So our thoughts, our words can really become our reality. So we are really in control when we make those choices of what it is we're going to experience in our life. In this particular placement, it could be a friend, co-worker, or job, romantic interest, romantic partner, spouse, somebody that is making you feel stuck, or you feel stuck with this person, stuck in this relationship, stuck in this job, stuck in this friendship. I don't want to hurt their feelings. And again, you really got to live in the now and live for yourself, is what the Hermit and the 10 of Cups and the 4 of Cups and the 3 of Cups are all saying to us. And really surround yourself only with those people, who add value to you and to your life. Moving on to the Queen of Swords and work and finance. So I did mention that the devil can be representative of the energy of Capricorn. The Queen of Swords is possibly a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, especially Aquarius, as the queen, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. But if you're looking for the signs, it could be one of those. And she, in general sense, she tells us that, like, our instincts, our intuition, these things are serving us really well right now. So, like, you feel something, you have a thought about something, like, go with it. Don't be afraid to follow through on that, because you're likely right. Just the stuff that we're feeling about people, about situations. I don't know. This one rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, there's probably something wrong with them, and like, avoid. In work, although you may be, like, very clear on what needs to happen, in your work environment, how something needs to be done, who needs to be fired, who needs to be elevated, you may have all the answers, seriously. But now is not really the time to necessarily broadcast or make announcements about your ideas and stuff. And we also got to be careful about overreacting to what might appear to be like somebody slighted us or disrespected us. It may give that appearance, and that's not necessarily what happened. But even if we feel you know, like, I didn't like that this, you know, person is coming at me, you know, like low-key hating or whatever. Try not to get too upset about it right now. This is, it's only a week. Only a week. You gotta try to keep yourself in check. If you're looking for a job, you don't have one already, then you are in a good like space in your life or position this week, you know, to be able to present yourself in this energy of the Queen of Swords. You're able to like really present yourself well, you know. You just look at her. She looks like she has her shit together. She looks smart. She looks she looks like she can handle herself, and that's the energy that you have this week. As you're looking for a job, it's possible that women in your life, especially so females in your life, could point you in the right direction of, you know, employment if you're seeking a job. Finances specifically, not necessarily tied to work. Again, the Queen of Swords is a strong woman, and this can be about a strong woman that might not be yourself. Somebody else may be aiding you. Again, think Three of Cups and being surrounded by other people. So there could be some other strong female figure that is going to play some sort of important role in your financial life, potentially this week. Whether she is the banker and she's going to be the one who gives you a loan or a credit card, or she is, again, your mother and she is giving you something, you are her heir, or she is helping you. She is, you know how mothers do. I'll put a down payment on your car, honey. I'll, you know, do whatever. Mothers do whatever they can do, you know, and always want to do more for their children than was done for them. So it could be something like that. It could be, you know, a female recruiter at the job or for school that, you know, at the registrar's office that gets you signed up. Something. I hope you guys have the idea. I wish that I was doing better at communicating this week. But there's a lot that you can learn from this woman if you can be open to what she has to say, and she can really be helpful in facilitating something for you that with regard to bettering your finances. In love, again, just like I felt a few minutes ago when what card was that I was talking about when I said when I said that some people won't connect with the soulmate, or the person from the past is not the soulmate. I think I'm still talking to like two separate groups of people. So for one, with the Eight of Wands, some communication could come in from, you know, to you, or maybe you'll be the one that's moved to communicate or reach out, or it'll happen, you know, with both sides. You guys will both open up to each other after some introspection. So after like the Hermit energy, you'll go into you know, that Ten of Cups sort of feel and want to communicate. And maybe this is going to be especially true of an air sign and or a Virgo, you know, with the Hermit showing up, or a Capricorn. You know, those kind of combinations. And Mercury retrograde starts this week too. So maybe also especially a Gemini or a Virgo. Because Mercury rules both of those. And actually, Mercury's retrograde this year, or this time, Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. But this time is in Gemini, which it rules. So that could be what's happening. Anyway, yeah, more than one, I think, you know, at least 2 sets of people I'd be speaking to. So for one, communication, movement, where there hadn't been movement before. Maybe you had been feeling stuck, the devil, and then all of a sudden you decide to get moving this week, or you recently decided to get moving, and so you're chugging along. You know, things are moving in the right direction now, no longer stifled.
But for others, the true, like, textbook, traditional tarot meaning of the Eight of Wands with regard to love is that you're probably wanting to move on, to move, for something to be happening in a relationship, like ready for a commitment that just doesn't seem to be coming, and the card shows up to remind us that we shouldn't, like, push somebody before they're ready. That's not going to work. If anything, we could push them away, and we need to, like, count our blessings and be thankful for now and be in the present and enjoy the person to the extent that we're able to enjoy them, or cut them off if we're not interested in that. But again, living in the now and not trying to force anyone to do anything that they're not ready for, that they don't want. It can be a good idea to, like, distract yourself. And if the person needs to, maybe the person needs to go off by themselves for a while too. Again, thinking about the hermit and seeing only one person on this motorcycle, maybe they need to go off by themselves for a while, but they'll be back, like, before we know it, And and Mercury retrograde can do that. And sometimes you want it to do that. You don't want to necessarily enter a commitment during Mercury retrograde. In fact, most astrologers and tarot readers would advise you against a commitment or contract during Mercury retrograde. And sometimes it's better off to not even communicate with people, because depending upon how your sign is affected and impacted, the communications could go left, So that may be an important message for us this week too. In terms of physical health and the Seven of Wands, this can be about worrying unnecessarily about our health. Like, we could be facing, health challenges, maybe even serious health challenges, but even with serious ones, a positive attitude can work wonders, prayer also, and which is intention, prayer, manifestation, intention, is all the same shit to me, I remember when my mother had stage 4 cancer. I don't know if everybody realizes this, that's been watching me for a while, but she did. And they told my sister and I that they couldn't do anything else to help my mother. They basically told my sister to come from, the Carolinas and, to say goodbye to our mother. Basically, it's what they were doing when they do that. And, we just did our thing. I just continued to do my thing. We prayed, we worked on it, and it took a year. But when that year was up, by the time that year was up, they had figured out how to remove this irremovable tumor that my mother had. And then that was the end of that, as they say. So, it was positive attitude, it was prayer, and that's what the Seven of Wands shows up to say. It's like, even if it's something serious that you maybe facing with regard to your health, that positive attitude does a lot. It really does a lot. If we suspect that something is wrong with ourselves, then but we don't know what, we should insist that our medical providers check it out. So you say, well, it's here, it's this spot, it's this part, I feel it here, it feels like this. Make sure that you are emphatic about it, and you don't let them just, like, brush you off or anything like that. There's another meaning of this Seven of Wands. And if your usual doctor won't check this thing out, then keep going, to different providers until you find somebody. I experienced that too. I remember when my kids were little, after 9/11, our pediatrician, and this was our pediatrician literally from the day my kids were born. And this man was in the delivery room with me when I gave birth, standing next to my GYN. So the GYN pulled the baby out, handed it to him, and he went and did his thing. But he didn't believe in people getting sick from 9/11. So I had to take my kids somewhere else because I knew that they were sick from 9/11. Like, I knew they were getting, too many ear infections, and they seemed to be having pulmonary issues, asthma and stuff like that. And I had to take them somewhere else, a pediatric pulmonologist or an ENT, because our pediatrician wouldn't see it. And I never left the pediatrician. My youngest still goes, and she's over 18. I still take her to the pediatrician. But we couldn't go to him for that. So it's not saying you have to check your doctor,
But if they're not paying attention to this thing that you feel is going on with you, then find somebody who will. And lastly, spirituality. 5 of Wands. It's kind of interesting that we have all these wands, but then again, Jupiter does move into Aries this week. We'll talk about that in a minute too, for those who want to stick around after the cards. But this can be about it being, feeling sort of difficult to grow spiritually. And maybe this is why I was meant to talk about the vibration and my own vibration and Isis's vibration. We can just feel sometimes that we're, running around in circles, not getting much done. And maybe we need to take a moment, to rest or to do absolutely nothing or create a space for ourselves. This can be where the hermit comes in again as our overall energy. To just be with ourselves, maybe to listen to some music or to, be outside, the beauty of the world. It's about like taking time again by yourself to be with yourself. And this is something that everyone needs sometimes. Everyone needs just room to just be and exist sometimes. And we should give ourselves this gift of time and space. And if we feel we need it. And then we will see and feel the spiritual growth in response. That's when I say like the hermit is also a spiritual card, that's the kind of spiritual card it is, because when you're really learning about yourself at your depths, and again, what your true feelings are, what your true desires are, and just being honest with yourself and sort of fearless, to face these things, that's spiritual growth. That leads to spiritual growth. So anyway, those are those cards. And we can see if the Twin Flame Oracle adds anything to it. So joining the 4 of Cups, the card that most directly represents us this week, is alone. And, here we have again somebody that's alone. Maybe not realizing that they have people that would love to be around them. That they could be sharing themselves with. Here's the 3 of Cups here, like our overall energy. But instead, this person's alone, maybe not really appreciating what they have in life or what they could have. Instead, they're sitting around feeling abandoned, lonely, and lost, and forgetting that even the divine is with them. So we may want to put that into perspective this week. Joining the Devil, we have healing, self-care, time out, be gentle with yourself and your twin. I guess if you have the occasion to do that. And that's also, again, what the devil can be about. It can be about addictions, as I said. Or just feeling restrained and like you're in bondage. And if that's the case, that does need healing. And again, you do need to prioritize yourself. Not worry about necessarily hurting anybody else's feelings. That could be where the Queen of Swords comes in, or where the Page of Swords comes in, because they're going to say what they have to say and draw the lines that they have to draw, the boundaries that they have to set, whether it hurts somebody's feelings or not. And it's not trying to hurt somebody's feelings, but we're not careful with the way stuff comes out of our mouths, because we're just like trying to let the truth out. Boom. So if the truth hurts, it hurts, unfortunately. Joining the Queen of Swords again, this is a very, this is a powerful energy in the placement of work and finance. And, the big goals card shows up to support that. Career, business, success, claim your place in the world. You have that energy this week to do just that and to be like recognized and respected. People again will look at you like, oh, this person has their stuff together. Joining the 8 of Wands in love and relationship, we have masculine. So maybe the masculine, again, specifically, that is, look, here the person is alone riding a motorcycle. Here the person is alone in a boat. But this may be who is reaching out, or, again, to the other point that I was making, needs time for themselves. maybe again because they just pulled themselves out of a situation where they felt like they were in bondage, and maybe they need, you know, a break by themselves, or some, you know, time to catch their breath. Or somebody's leaving one relationship. You may have been waiting around and you're waiting for a commitment, you're waiting for a relationship, but if they just got out of one not that long ago, especially if it was a marriage, like real bondage, like the devil, they may need to be single for a minute. And that being single doesn't mean they're going to be out dating, you know, and racking up hoes. I don't know where that came from, but yeah, it doesn't mean that though. It just mean like, seriously, I need to be single. I need to be an individual person. I need to be alone for a little while before I can be in another relationship. So there, again, multiple meanings. Could mean masculine is reaching out to you in communication, or could mean masculine just got separated from a situation that was holding him back and needs a moment to himself. Physical health, joining the Seven of Wands. We have stuck, block, third party, silence, barrier. Shift your focus to clear the energy. And I think, you know, it's a similar list is like not being, again, stuck in silence, not being ignored. If a medical professional is not listening to you, if you feel like you're alone, like you're blocked, you need to, you know, move on to another avenue. And somebody that will help you, you know, a third party, a second party. Get a second opinion, get a third opinion if you have to. And last but not least, spiritual health, we have compromise, mutual understanding, flexibility, give and take brings rewards. And that's that. All about transformation. That's what we have this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. You know, I appreciate it. Comment as well. And if you are interested in sticking around, I'm going to grab my computer now. There we go. Okay, on the Islamic calendar, there's nothing that I'm going to talk about this week. On the Hebrew calendar, they continue to count the Omer, but we're not going to talk about that. We talked about that the first week it started. On the Christian calendar, there are a number of things. Let's start with the first, which occurs on the first day for which this reading is. The 8th is the feast day of Our Lady of Luján, patroness of Argentina. So we will talk about that briefly. I'll go ahead and do that now. In 1886, Pope Leo XIII honors the Virgin of Luján, sending a jewel-encrusted gold crown for the statue. And I want to point out, in 1886 equals 6, which is a number that represents Mary. In addition to 13, we have Leo XIII. And of course, May 8th is also a 13. 5 plus 8 is 13. Finally, in 1904, a new basilica is built for Our Lady of Luján, where she remains to this day. And her feast day is on May 8th. She is recognized as the patroness of Argentina. I've previously told her story. I'm not going to do it today, but I'm sure there are plenty of places that you could read about her. I think she's also considered the patron saint of Paraguay and Uruguay, if I remember correctly. Moving on to May 13th, which is another feast for Mary, Our Lady of Fatima. And it is the first of a series of 6 celebrations of Our Lady of Fatima. The first occurred on May 13th in the year 1917, and then there was one every month thereafter through October 13th, with the second one, June 13th, being the one where when she appeared to the children in May, she was like, the children were like, nobody's going to believe us. She was like, well, next time you come back, you know, bring the townspeople with you, and I'll meet you here again next month. And so when she came back on June 13th, then she made an appearance before like 70,000 people. And they say that she told those kids that she was going to be back, and that there was going to be a third world war. Now, this is one of the things that's interesting that I was wanting to talk about. Because I'm a number weirdo, and I get shown all kinds of stuff having to do with the numbers of all these things. So, well, I'll come back to this in a second. May 13th, 1917 is also 999, right? Because May is 5, 13, 5 plus 13 is 18, is 9, and then 1917 is 99. So we have that 9 also, 6, 9, 13. These are all the numbers that I've been saying were attached to Mary for the past, 6-7 years that I've been on this YouTube channel. I've been explaining this and proving it over and over again that I know what I'm talking about. Also, let me tell you a little bit about, again, Our Lady of Fatima. So on May 13th, we celebrate the feast day of Our Lady of Fatima, looking to the Blessed Mother for peace and comfort in times of uncertainty. According to tradition, on May 13th, 1917, the Virgin Mary appeared to 3 shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos, Francisco Marto, and Jacinta Marto, near Fatima in Portugal. And if you want to, again, learn more about that, I'm sure there are plenty of places. There's actually a movie of Our Lady of Fatima that some of you may be interested in watching. I'm sure you can find it like on Netflix or something. That may be it for the feast days. So I'll go to the planetary calendar. And also on May 8th, the same day as the feast day of Our Lady of Lujan, at 8:21 p.m., we experience the first quarter moon, which is going to be 18 degrees Leo. Then on May 10th, it has here 7:47 a.m. Mercury turns retrograde 4 degrees Gemini with a latitude of 52. But on another site that I was directed to go to, which is www.findyourfate.com, Mercury retrograde 2022 in Gemini, May 2022, says in May 2022, Mercury goes retrograde in Gemini, then the retrograde transits to Taurus, and finally the direct station ends in Taurus in June of 2022. The pre-shadow phase of Mercury retrograde, the second of its kind in the year of 2022, starts at 26 degrees and 5 latitude on the 26th of April. So 26 degrees, 26th of April. And according to this, it happened at 6:47 a.m. Universal Time. And it says that Mercury goes retrograde in Germany at 4 degrees. So that's still consistent. But this, rather than 52, says a latitude of 51, which equals 6 for Mary, on May 10th, which equals 6. May is 5. The 10th is 10. 5 plus 10 is 15, is 6. In the year 2022, which equals 6, at 11:47, which is 11:11 Universal Time. What else did I want to tell you about this? There was something else. Well, this goes on to say the retrograde phase ends in Taurus, 26 degrees, 5 latitude on the 3rd of June at 8 a.m. Universal Time. And the post-shadow period ends at 4 degrees, again, 51 latitude, so another 6 on the 18th of June, so another 9, another 6-9 in the year 2022. And it happens at 10:46, which is 11 Universal Time. Oh, I know. In connection to Our Lady of Fatima, like I said, that originally happened in 1917. With this being 2022, 2022 minus 1917 equals 105, 6. Something very big with Mary and perhaps her predictions is happening, is unfolding right now. And I think people with a connection to 6 this year will be especially blessed. So maybe people with a life path of 6. And I think we see that unfolding already too, because the life path of 6 is about family and home and, you know, like creating a space and nesting. And we've seen so much of that going on. So I think, you know, things are going to be happening positive for those people. You know, again, creativity, growth of their homes, growth of their families. You know, physically, metaphorically, spiritually, growth for them. I'm actually going to be a 6 this year. You know, God willing, right? I'll be having my 51st birthday on the feast day of Our Lady of Fatima, June 13th. I was actually born with the same exact numerology as the original Our Lady of Fatima. Same numbers, just transposed. So June 13th equals 1999, as it did back in 1917. You know, my birthday equals 1999. What else? So yeah, it doesn't have to be a life path of 6. It could be a connection to 6 in some other way as well. That is what I'm getting, including people like me who maybe their age will equal 6 or their birthday equals 6 or something. Well, if your birthday equals 6, your life path is 6. So you get the idea. Anyway, this goes on to say about Mercury retrograde that Mercury goes retrograde in Gemini on May 10th, causing chaos in the 3rd house and matters dealt with by this house, such as communication. Yes, the 3rd house is the house of communication. It's the house of Gemini. This can also be cause delays in transport and travel. The communication gap will increase amongst people. So maybe that's why, again, you should leave people alone and not force them to communicate if they're not ready. And many people will date the wrong partners. Remember I said, this is not your soulmate. The answer is no. So maybe that was talking about this. Like you'll be trying to be with the wrong person. It's not the right person. Anyway, if you do, later you'll be betrayed is what it says. Many exes will resurface, as well as old friends will re-enter your life. Mercury in Gemini will be very intense, as it is the ruler of the house of Gemini. It connotes diplomacy. However, during the retrograde, emotional turmoil will be high. People will be brutally honest. Isn't that what I was just saying about the Page of Swords, the Queen of Swords? People will be brutally honest, causing lots of hurts. Gossiping will be at its peak, and too much drama will ensue. People will behave inquisitively, poking their noses in matters of others. Many will be nostalgic, again, thinking about the past, and visiting times from the past. There will be numerous or 0 phone calls, and important mails will be misplaced. So your phone can either be ringing off the hook or not ringing at all. You'll be saying, what the hell's happening? And yeah, mail and stuff could be lost. During the retrograde dates, many trips will be rescheduled. Flights will be delayed, and many plans will be canceled. My friend and I were supposed to go to Vegas. No, we're not. I don't think we're going. I'm pretty sure we're not. Anyway, so I guess it's because of the retrograde, but I hadn't even thought about that before. Anyway, due to this, trains, ships, or airplanes might disappear or meet tragedy. I mean, I hope not, but that's the kind of thing that can happen. Also, the internet will be slow, and technology gadgets won't work efficiently. Yeah, I always have a problem with my laptop. My friend's laptop blue screened the other day, and she had to have another hard drive put in. So it's like the real Mercury retrograde hasn't started yet, but the shadow, once the shadow starts, you can be potentially fucked anyway. This goes on to say, like, what you should do during the retrograde in Gemini: be patient, maintain a healthy relationship with your partner, and avoid your exes. I guess if you're involved, if you're in a relationship, yes, and you want to keep it. Maintain yourself spiritually, pray more often, stay away from gossip mongers, and follow your daily routine religiously, and avoid a lot of communication in order to avoid miscommunication. Isn't that just what I said? So yeah, they agree. So yeah, I hope to have more stuff on those fives and Mary's predictions and all that in the coming weeks. But so far, I was just shown that numerology. I thought it was so interesting that it had been 105 years, and which equals 6, and that this is a year that equals 6 also, and that she spoke of the Third World War potentially, and there's a potential for that to happen right now with what's going on in the Ukraine. So anyway, I just also wanted to touch on Jupiter entering Aries. This also occurs on May 10th. I have May 10th at 7:22 p.m., which is another 11. Jupiter enters Aries at 0 degrees, so we'll read about that. On May 11th at 3:52 p.m., Jupiter will be semi-square Uranus. So Jupiter will still be at 0 degrees Aries, and Uranus, but a latitude of 11. And Uranus will be at 15 of the 6 degrees Taurus, but also at a latitude of 11. Okay, so I wanted to go to www.tarot.com. Mercury retrograde in Gemini. Here's what you can expect. By now, you've probably already heard about the pesky astrological event known as Mercury retrograde. It's usually written about as a very chaotic time when communication goes awry. And while that's true, there's so much more to what goes on during this retrograde period. Many things can impact how you personally experience Mercury retrograde, including what sign and element Mercury is in and where the retrograde occurs in your natal chart. What is Mercury retrograde? Mercury retrograde happens about 3 or 4 times each year for a period of about 3 or 4 weeks at a time. Mercury slows down to the point that it appears to be moving backward, but it really is an optical illusion. The communication planet does still have forward momentum. It just isn't moving at its usual speedy pace. Planet Mercury rules communication, travel, and technology. So all of these things are often disrupted during Mercury retrograde. Yes, things can get a bit chaotic, but there's also a lot of good that can come out of this time. This can be a time of reflection, reconsideration, and retreat. Just like the planet Mercury, we're being asked to slow down so we can revisit our beliefs, our thought patterns, and how we want to move forward in our lives. In 2022, almost every Mercury retrograde period will begin in an air sign and move into an earth sign. Aquarius moving into Capricorn, Gemini into Taurus, Libra into Virgo, and finally beginning in Capricorn. Air signs are intellectual, while earth signs are more rooted in reality. Because Mercury retrograde is a time of reflection, this shift from theoretical air into productive earth means that we could come out of the retrograde period with more solid plans than we had when we originally entered it. And then also from www.tarot.com, Jupiter in Aries, fast-paced, personal, and empowering. Jupiter, the largest of all planets, is known for its ability to widen our perspectives. He is the great teacher, helping us to grow in ways that magnify the awareness and good fortune in our lives. He helps us to move beyond our limits, to realize the amount of opportunity that is available to us. When Jupiter moves through the independent and pioneering sign of Aries, we are re-energized on a very personal level. We are focused on ourselves as individuals and eager to satisfy our need for happiness, in whatever way that means to each of us personally. When you're willing to listen and to learn, Jupiter in Aries can teach you more about yourself than you could imagine. Our minds are on fire during Jupiter in Aries, ignited with innovative ideas and lightning bolts of intuition. This is an opportunity to let go of the limits of our past and to come up with new solutions for the future. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac and is always willing to step fearlessly into uncharted territory. During this transit, we can see possibilities to better ourselves that we simply couldn't see before. With Jupiter in Aries, it's not about taking our time slowly to map out strategized plans. It's about feeling the spark of inspiration and running with it. The more time we take, the more restrictions and problems we realize, which will hold us back. That's what I was talking about, being in the now too, like not worrying about what could happen, what might happen, and thinking about, overthinking about all this stuff, just going, just doing. We are encouraged to shoot from the hip, knowing that every experience is a learning experience that helps us grow. While Jupiter often encourages us to learn from others, Jupiter in Aries is more about self-teaching and self-learning. This reminds me of a conversation I had yesterday, where somebody was talking to me about their ex and asking me about mine. And, I had explained that one of the things that happened to me with my ex, like we were just like before our time. We had that really deep love really too young. And he asked me to marry him when I was like 16 years old. I wasn't ready. I was a kid. And maybe I should have. I mean, he was a kid too, and I guess he was ready, or he thought he was at least. And I mean, maybe you could say maybe I should have went with it or whatever. I don't think I was meant to. I think we were meant to experience all these things that we did in our individual lives. And people end up where they are, where they're meant to be, rather, is one of my beliefs. But she was like, what if he asked you now? And I'm like, just based on the kind of person that I am now, yeah, I don't even have to think about like how it would be, like what would happen. I don't have to know. I wouldn't even have to think about if I was ready or not. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm still not ready. But I'm more prone to just jump at stuff and just do it, because I see life differently, than I did at that time. Anyway, this goes into something like that. It says we mustn't be afraid to take risks and to try things, whether we feel we're prepared or not. So yeah, I wouldn't even wait to see if I was ready. Somebody asked me to marry them, or, somebody I care about asked me to marry them now. Yeah, just sure will. Even though, in truth, I'm not sure I have a interest in even being married again, but, I would go for it. Anyway, trying and succeeding and trying and failing are both valuable ways of learning and growing. Exactly. And I understand that now as an adult. In fact, it may be even harder to maintain attention in a traditional teacher and student educational setting during this transit, because we need to learn things our own way. There can, however, be a danger in becoming so focused on ourselves and our own viewpoints. Opinions run hot during Jupiter in Aries, and we're impatient for action, which can fan the flames of confrontation, both politically and socially. When we reject the importance of two-way dialogue, we close ourselves off to learning, and that is just a Jupiter no-no, right? Because Jupiter is about growth, expansion. Even though there's extra emphasis on our personal mindsets during this transit, we stifle ourselves if we think too narrowly. Remember, this is the time to expand, not to contract. During Jupiter's transit through Aries, we make our own luck. When we embrace the power, we have to control the direction of our lives. This is what I was talking about earlier, as it relates to free thinking and free will and us having choices and power, even when it seems like we're restricted. We are able to open up opportunities, solutions, relationships, and fortune that we were blind to before. So Jupiter's going to help us to do it even more so than usual. Jupiter wants us to expand and to embrace our potential as individuals, and to realize that we each hold the key. I think I used the words hold the key earlier, to our freedom and stuff, our own choices hold the key. Something like that. Anyway, they're saying it now. That Jupiter helps us to realize that we hold the key to our big, bright, and happy futures. But it is up to us to put it into the lock and to turn it. And that's what it has to say about Jupiter. We talked about Mercury retrograde. We talked about Jupiter. So I think that is it. I had originally planned to do another spread with the other cards. That's why I shuffled them. But I think that this reading has probably gone long. Yep, it looks like it has. So I am going to end it there. Again, please do like, share, subscribe, and comment. I do appreciate it. And there's a moon reading coming up soon. Or is that next week? Nope, it's next week. Never mind. All right, namaste.